Great. So we're going to go ahead and start. We've never done this before. So I'm obviously Mayor Hill, and I'm here at Town Hall up on the 4th floor. And this is the mayor's office. I actually don't come here too often. I work full time at my paying job, although I can't go to work this week. And I come over to Town Hall whenever I need to meet with citizens, have meetings, or come to the city council meeting. So today, this is kind of an informal city council meeting with you guys to hear what's on the minds of all of our students. And I'm very excited to have you. We have a lot of the bond builder kids here today, as well as some of the young people from our CISD communications. So I know you've got some great questions. We're obviously in very uncertain times right now. We're all going through something together that we've never gone through before. So it's new and it's different. And there are a lot of questions out there that are questions you probably never thought you'd be asking a mayor. But today's a great opportunity to ask those questions. So thank you all for being here. I'm going to go ahead first to Millie. Millie, go ahead and ask me your question.
Mayor Hill, you are a huge inspiration to me. I want to be mayor one day. As the mayor of Southlake now, what is your biggest challenge in keeping your citizens safe during this virus?
Well, good question, Millie. You know, this is, when I ran for mayor, I never imagined in a million years that I would be sitting here talking to our citizens, young and old, about a pandemic. I'll be honest, I had to go look up the word to see if I truly understood what it meant. So one of the most important things in leadership is trying to figure out what your citizens need and be willing to change, right? Think of doing things differently depending on what's needed. And right now, our citizens need to be reminded that we are a community, that we live in one of the greatest countries in the world, so we will get through this together. But it also is a reminder to me to really listen to people's fears and listen to people's worries, and also start working on a plan for when this is over, because we are going to get through this together. So what next? What can we do together to make sure that our community gets back to the way it was before this happened as quickly as possible? So I think it's been a good lesson for me. I know you guys are learning to study differently right now. Well, I'm learning to be mayor differently right now, and I'm having to think differently and speak differently and communicate differently so that people understand. They have a lot of questions and they have a lot of concerns, and I have to be there with that information to make sure that they feel confident. So good question, Millie. I appreciate it. Grayson, what question do you have?
Okay, so I was wondering that when people look back on this, what are some of the things that you will remember as mayor?
I'm going to be honest with you. There have been some days where I've been really, really worried because it's something unknown, right? You know, it's like the first day you heard that you weren't going to go to school and you were going to have to start learning online. I was worried because this is something that I didn't understand. I don't think many adults understood it, and now we're learning. But I don't think I've really ever had to look at our community this way ever before, to look at all the different things and how they fit together. I mean, you know, we talk about being dragons, right? We talk about City Hall and Town Square, but now we're having conversations about grocery stores and pharmacies, and can people go to the park? And can people use a tennis court? We had to close down our brand new Champions Club. So I'm talking to people now and making decisions about things that I never really thought too much about before. I took a lot of stuff for granted. I think all of us did. Does that answer your question? Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, Max, what kind of question do you have?
I have two questions.
Okay.
What is it? What's the question? Can you show some about?
Okay, I think we're having a little bit of trouble hearing you, but I did know that you wanted to ask about our small business owners, and I know you had a suggestion about an online auction. Maybe something good, perfect, that we could do to help our businesses. Can you hear? Yeah, to help our business. Go ahead.
What can we do to help small businesses?
Okay. Yeah, what can we do to help small businesses? So that's a great question, because there's what can we do to help our small businesses right now? And what can we help our small businesses, how can we help them be successful after this is over? So let's talk first about what we can do to help them right now. So there are some restaurants that are allowed to be open, right? Places where you need to buy food, places where you need to buy supplies for your home, just so that you can, live and continue to live comfortably and take care of things. One of the biggest businesses in town, we know we have tons of restaurants in Southlake, right? So one of the biggest worries is, how do we keep those restaurants operating? The best thing you can do is do takeout, do curbside, get food delivered. Now, I know every family can't do it every single day, but maybe you might want to think about buying some gift certificates from some of your favorite restaurants that you can use later after this is over. If you've got a friend who's got a birthday right now, I know you can't be with them to celebrate, but maybe you send them a message and say, hey, I'm going to pick up a gift card for your my favorite restaurant, and we're going to get together after this is over, and we're going to have a pizza together, or we're going to have a sub sandwich together. But the other thing we can do is we can tip big. Okay, the people in our restaurants that are working are trying to get by. They're trying to keep their doors open. So if you go with your family and buy $30 worth of food, and you might normally give a $6 tip, well, maybe this time you give a $10 tip. And if you can afford to give a little more, you give a little more. I'm going to leave here today and go to a store to pick up some dog treats for my dog, and they're going to bring them out to the curb. And I'm going to probably give them as much money as I can give them. Even though my bill may be $30 or $40, I'm going to give them as much money as I can and ask them to keep the money. So that's a great question. We need to try to use all of our restaurants, use all of our businesses as much as we can. We need to keep as many people working as we possibly can. Once a business closes, the chances of it reopening are not very good. So we have to all do our part. Max, does that answer your question? Good, thanks. Thanks for the thumbs up. So next question is, Abed, do you have a question?
Yes, ma'am, Mrs. Mayor. So one of my questions is, I've talked to a lot of people in my age group, and I know that there are some people struggling with the isolation, not being able to see friends, and some people struggle with siblings or don't have siblings. So I was wondering if there was a place for people to maybe connect or kind of help with stuff like that.
Right, that's a very good question. So I'll tell you too, I'm used to going to lots of events, speaking at luncheons, having meetings, and I haven't seen anybody for a good 2.5 weeks. My last city council meeting looked just like this screen. And these are my friends that I'm used to being with and socializing with. So I think for students, the first thing I would tell you is make sure that you're having good conversations with your parents. Make sure you're sitting down as a family as often as possible and talking about how you're feeling. And also, I know I've been following a lot about what CISD has been doing, and your teachers are available for you to speak to. The other thing I would do is what we're doing today with your friends. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone and text a friend who you haven't talked to for a while, or ask your mom and dad to connect you with that friend, either maybe on your mom and dad's Facebook account. You can Facebook Live with your friend. But just even sending messages back and forth to friends, I think reminds you that everyone is in this same boat together, and we can really help each other out a lot. The other thing you can do is you can email me anytime. I have an email at the city. I think it's mayor@ci.southlake.tx.us. But you can just go on the city website and click on Contact the Mayor and have a conversation with me. Get on your mom and dad, have them let you get on their Facebook page and send me a message. And I'm more than happy to have a conversation with each and every one of you and any of the students. I've actually heard from a lot of students. And we just need I think the best answer to your question is we need to be reaching out. Okay. Don't expect people to reach out to you. You need to be the person that reaches out. Okay. The more we're reaching out to people, the better we're going to feel about this. That's a great question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Aliana.
How can school-aged children help Southlake small businesses recover from the coronavirus pandemic?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, we talked a little bit earlier with Max about what we can do right now to help Southlake businesses, but how do we help them recover, right? That's going to be the bigger issue. And so one thing I would challenge all of you to do is for the rest of this school year, whether it's graduation gifts for friends, whether it is your birthday, whether it's the Christmas season, Hanukkah, instead of asking for presents, ask for a gift card from one of our local restaurants or one of our local businesses. Or, think of fundraisers that you can do with your friends where you gather up different gift cards from different local businesses and maybe use those to raise money or donate them to local charities. I think we have to stop thinking, at least for the rest of this year, about ourselves and think what we can do to help others. And I think that I've already heard from several of my skills students, and they've come up with some great ideas to purchase gift cards and to donate those gift cards and to help our businesses recover. And I don't want to say only shop in Southlake after this is over, but I do think if you need to go shopping and you can buy it in Southlake, you need to buy it in Southlake. Absolutely. No Amazon for the rest of the year. No offense, but it's time to find it in Southlake. Sometimes it takes a little more effort, but I think between Grapevine and Colleyville and Keller and Southlake, you can find what you're looking for. I think that's what we need to do.
That's a great idea.
Thank you. Great question. Very good question. Dylan, what question do you have?
Sorry. So what do you think will be the lasting effects of the coronavirus on our society? For example, after 9/11, a lot of how we lived, life changed. What do you think will change because of the coronavirus?
That's a great question. I was just telling my employees in a group chat that this was very much like 9/11 that we went through with our company. So we've been in business for 34 years. So we've gone through the recession and we've gone through 9/11. I think this is more similar to 9/11 because there's an element of fear, right? There's an element of fear and worry about the future. I think it's going to take us a while. I think we have to be honest with each other. I think it's going to take a while to get back to normal. I wore gloves to get gas at the gas station. I'm 62 years old. I've never put on a pair of gloves to get gas at the gas station. I don't think I will ever look at being in close quarters with people the same again. Am I going to be afraid? No, I'm not going to be afraid. I have absolute confidence in our country, in our medical system, in our doctors. We are the most creative, innovative country in the world. And we will be ready for this if it comes back. And hopefully sooner than that, we'll be able to stop this. But I do think coming out of it, the biggest worry I see as a mayor is truly getting back to that level of comfort where you can walk into a party with your friends or have a pizza night or hug. I mean, I miss hugging my friend. I miss hugging my kids. And I think we're going to think a little differently about that moving forward. And I will probably wash my hands 15 times a day. I mean, I grew up like you wash your hands and you ate, right? And then you brush your teeth. Well, now I'm washing my hands. And I bet you I wash my hands a lot more for the rest of my life. So I think a lot of it, I don't know, I think you would agree. A lot of it's going to be how we support each other, right? So you just don't support each other by giving each other the hug. You support each other by talking through the fear and the worry. And that'll help us come out of this faster. If you keep it inside yourself, no matter what age you are, it's going to take a lot longer to feel like we're back to normal. but give yourself time, right? You have to do everything at your own pace. Thank you, Dylan. Okay, Sarah, what's your question?
Hi, good morning. So as editor-in-chief of Dragon Media at Carroll High School, how can our program help to provide support and communication to our community and to families and students?
Well, you're in an absolutely superb position to be a huge help to our community now and in the future. You know, one of the things I've noticed on my Facebook page is that the way that I communicate, the words that I choose, the tone of my writing gives people a lot of comfort. And I look at some of the other random pages on social media where people are allowed to amp up their language, add lots of adjectives and verbs, if you know what I mean, adverbs. There tends to be the water starts to boil. So I think the way that you write and the willingness to talk about what's really going on, you can't be afraid to deal with this. None of us can be afraid to deal with this. We all, no matter our age, we all have to voice how we're feeling, and we all have to lift each other up. So you're in an absolutely perfect position to help lift people up by giving them the facts, right?
Right.
Admitting that this is difficult to deal with. It's difficult to write about. It's difficult to talk about. But choosing your words carefully can bring a calm to people and at the same time educate them, right? Which is what our job is as communicators.
Mm-hmm.
So
thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it. Amelia?
Hi, good morning. So I wanted to ask, for us, the new normal has been a really weird, radical change, especially for people my age. I wanted to ask, how are you personally handling with this kind of new normal of social distancing and minimal face-to-face interaction?
Oh, I hate it. I'm going to be honest, I hate it. I'm a touchy, like I should be at a school somewhere talking to the kids about Texas history right now. I should be at a luncheon joking with the community about, you know, funny things that are happening and neat things that are happening. And I don't have anybody even, I mean, I want to touch everybody. And this is absolutely horrible. I've also learned, going back to what Sarah and I were just talking about, I've learned how careful I have to be with my words. And I've always spoken kind of off the cuff and made jokes. And now's not the time, right? Now's not the time to make jokes. Now's not the time to be cute. Now's the time to be serious, but in a really kind way. So I find myself, this was not the way we're meant to be, right? This isn't normal for any of us. None of us want to be sitting here talking to each other halfway across town, because as students and as all of you are leadership at CISD, you're used to getting in there and getting your hands dirty and helping each other with projects and actually doing things. And it's hard to stop physically doing things and make it more mental, right? All we can do now is look at each other and smile and give a thumbs up and say a kind word. I did something, this is, let me mention this. I started doing something 2 days ago. I was in my park over in my neighborhood, taking a walk with my dog. And I started waving at random people. So the cars that came out of Coventry Manor, I was like, hey, people were rolling down their windows and yelling hello. And people walking their dogs across the pond were yelling hello. We need that. We need that contact. It's a step up from what we have right now. And I think all of us, every one of you, can really contribute by even just doing that, yelling hello to your neighbor, say hi to a car that goes by, wave. Who cares if you don't know them? It just makes people feel better. And we all need to feel as good as we can going through this crummy time together. That good?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Amelia. Okay, Dane, what's your question?
Hi, Mary Hill. How are you?
Oh, good.
Good. All right. So there's been some complaints about citizens not following the rules of social distancing. Some people even say college students are hosting parties. Do you think that everything possible is being done to enforce the stay-at-home order?
So I just did a video about this the other day. we live in a government where and what I love about our government is they don't come and lock us down, right? They tell us what we need to do and the rules that we need to follow, and we need to make good decisions. So do I have a problem if someone is in fact having a party? Absolutely unacceptable. What we're doing is asking our citizens if they see something or they hear something that really isn't appropriate, isn't following the rules, then just give us a call at the non-emergency number at the police department. We're more than happy to come out and talk to people. We're not giving people tickets. We're not stopping people, if they're walking their dog. But understand that there are also things that are allowed, right? So as long as you're staying with your family unit and you want to go out and take a walk, you can walk with your family. If you want to go to the park and throw the ball with your family, you can do that. If you want to take your 4 dogs out and take them for a walk, you can do that. What we don't want people doing is having a bunch of friends over for pizza and movies. We don't want people to sit at the end of the cul-de-sac and put out a potluck dinner and everybody pulls their chairs around. Those are bad decisions, and they're not fair to the other citizens. So everyone has to take responsibility for their actions. Or what will happen eventually if we don't is that government will get more involved and they will set more stringent rules and regulations, and people can end up getting tickets. So that's a very good question. And it's Americans love our freedom, right? We love our freedom, but we're also pretty darn smart. When we're asked to do something by the government, we usually will listen if it's for the safety of all of us. And those that don't, yes, it's time for our police to go by and just ask what's going on. Maybe you haven't heard that we're in the middle of a pandemic, but you need to separate into family units and go hang out with your family. Thank you. Thank you, Dane. Okay, Finnegan, what's your question?
So my question is, when coronavirus is over, what's the first thing that you're going to do that's fun?
What's the first thing I'm going to do when this is over is I'm going to hug the first person I see. So I might get in trouble for that, but I have to tell you, I have one of my children, Preston. He's 26 and he's been backpacking all across the world, and he came back 15 days ago, and I picked him up at the airport. I couldn't hug him, and he went into quarantine, and I'll get to see him tomorrow, and we still can't hug. So I haven't seen my son in almost a year, and I haven't gotten to hug him. So one of the first things I'm going to do is, I think, group hug at my house. And then after that, probably go sit down at a restaurant and order a big pizza and just hang out with all of my friends. I bet that's what you guys are going to do. Finnegan, what are you going to do when this is over?
Probably just go out with some friends.
Yep.
To main event or somewhere, or play games, and then just repeat the process.
Right, exactly. Just being safe still, because I think we're still going to be safe for a long time, right? It'll be like a quick hug instead of the old bear hug that we all love to give our friends. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Good question. So why doesn't everybody unmute for a minute? And did anybody think of any other questions? Or if you just have something on your mind that you'd like to say, I'd love to hear from you. Just say your name before you speak so they know who's speaking. Anybody got anything? Mr. Deering, you have anything?
What is that?
I just want to say thank you to all the students who jumped on today. This has been really awesome just to hear, what the students are talking about. So it's been fun to hear what their questions are, because these are original questions that they sent in and submitted to us. These are not questions that we put in and wanted to hear. These are legitimately the student questions they had for you, Mayor Hill. So I appreciate you listening to them and letting them use their voice to ask the questions and kind of have some of their concerns cleared up, and just kind of hear from you in this opportunity, in this situation.
Thank you very much. Yeah, one thing I want all of you to know is that you're really going to be an important part of us getting back to normal. It's really not going to be about the adults. It's going to be about the kids. And this is this is history. You are living through history. And it doesn't feel like that right now, but when you are much older and you look back on this period of life and you share this with someday with your children, maybe grandchildren, who knows, you will have lived through history. And I think it will say a lot about all of you if you each make a goal, what you can do when this is over to help our community come together and to be even better than it was before this started. Anybody else have any other comments?
Me?
Yeah, Aliana?
I just want people to stay home because my grandpa and my grandma have the coronavirus. I just want everybody to follow the rules.
Okay, and that's important, right? Many of us have our grandparents that we're taking care of. I know my mom and dad live up in Argyle, and they're 89, and so I'm taking care of them, you know, taking food for them. And yes, you're right. It's very important for all of us to do our part. If we stay in our family group, right? If we stay in our family group, no matter where we go or what we do, that's really the key right now. Anyone else have anything?
Me.
Yes, Millie. I'll get Millie. Hang on, Millie. Go ahead.
I want a sloth mayor.
I'm sorry?
I would like a sloth in my office as mayor.
Oh, sloth? I love that. That's wonderful. Hey, oh, I see your picture. Very nice. I love that. Very nice. Finnegan, did you have a question?
Yeah. Well, my sister will collect students out in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I think you're going to need to repeat that.
Okay, well, my sister broke her leg when she was out in the neighborhood. Okay, I guess you still can't hear me.
Sorry about that. Or if you write it down and hold it up.
Just write it in the comments.
Anybody else have anything? Well, study hard, everybody, and, you know, make the best out of this. Make sure you're on a good schedule, right? Get up at a good time every morning and get some exercise and breathe the fresh air. And because I know when we all get back to normal, we'll all go back to our crazy lives. And then we'll forget what it was like to really sit down and talk to each other and enjoy each other's company like this. So I appreciate all of you. And if you need anything from me, you just reach out, okay?
Okay.
Take care.
Yeah. Thank you.
Take care. Okay, bye everyone. Thank you.